This is it. We finally have the most important car of this year after a long wait, the Mahindra Scorpio-N. Now, how different is it from the old Mahindra Scorpio? We shall discuss that in this video. But before we get started, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the MotorBeam channel. Here we go now. Let's start off by comparing the sizes of the Mahindra Scorpio-N and the existing Scorpio. Compared to the existing Mahindra Scorpio, this one is 206mm longer, 97mm wider, while the old one is actually 138mm taller than this one. The older Scorpio gets 235/65/17 tires. On the new Scorpio N, on the automatic variants, you get 255/60/18 tires, while on the manual variants, you get 245/65/17 tires. The old Mahindra Scorpio still looks very macho, very gangster, and actually the face of that car looks quite scary, especially when it comes in your rear view mirror and you just have to make way for it. This one has become a bit softer in comparison, but this one also looks quite intimidating. It is also big in size and it has that aggressive face, but from certain angles it does look a bit smaller somehow. The old Mahindra Scorpio actually gets hydraulic struts for the bonnet, but this is something which is missing on the new Scorpio N. The dimensions of the Scorpio N are still very proportionate. You get some nice colors on offer, but personally, I think the older one looked far more aggressive. What are your thoughts on the design? Let me know in the comment section below. What about the safety features on the Mahindra Scorpio-N versus the existing Mahindra Scorpio? Well, the existing Scorpio gets dual front airbags, ABS, and I think that's about it. It does not get ISOFIX style seat mounts also, and that car has a crash test rating of 0 stars, I think. Now, the Mahindra Scorpio-N is a lot more equipped with safety equipment. You get 6 airbags, ABS with EVD, ISOFIX style seat mounts, ESC, traction control, hill descent control, hill hold control, brake disc wiping, rollover mitigation, driver drowsiness detection, and even TPMS. So yes, a whole lot of kit is offered on this car, and a 5-star rating is also expected. If not 5, maybe a 4-star rating definitely. Nice cabin for the Mahindra Scorpio-N. Way better quality than the regular Scorpio. Lot more features on offer and way better fit and finish also. Now the existing Scorpio has a very basic cabin. The layout is just about average. The quality of the materials isn't all that great, and the feature list isn't very long either. Here you get better fit and finish, some soft touch materials on the dashboard, but again a lot of hard plastics all around as well. If we talk about the features, the old Mahindra Scorpio gets automatic climate control, manual seat adjustment, tilt steering, puddle lamps, projectors, static bending lights, reverse camera, rain and light sensors, and tire tronics. Meanwhile, if we talk about the features on the Scorpio N, you get a dual zone climate control which chills the cabin really nicely, an electric adjustment feature for the driver's seat, tilt adjustment for the steering, no telescopic adjustment, LED projectors, front and rear camera, no side camera, rain and light sensors on this one as well, a 7-inch MID, a cooled glow box, wireless charger, and TPMS. Okay, now if we talk about the audio systems on both the cars, the old Mahindra Scorpio gets a 7-inch touchscreen, which is again a very basic one, but you get Apple CarPlay, Android Auto connectivity along with Bluetooth, USB, and aux. On this one, you get an 8-inch screen with a better user interface. This one also gets Android Auto. Apple CarPlay is compatible, but it is not activated yet, and you get 12 Sony speakers, the sound quality from which is fab and way better, another level compared to the regular Scorpio. The regular Mahindra Scorpio also gets a very basic instrument cluster with those analog dials and a small display in the middle. This one gets a 7-inch display in the middle. Again, a very good layout over here, and a variety of information is showcased on the instrument cluster. If we talk about the center console, just look at this. The cabin reeks of a premium appeal. Definitely the old one feels again quite bare bones in comparison, and the ergonomics on the old one are really messed up. This one has way better ergonomics, really user-friendly cabin, and I think a lot of families are going to find this a lot more appealing compared to the older car. Let's check out the second row comfort of the Scorpio N. Getting in was easy, but the car is a bit tall, so that takes some time to get used to, but getting out will be slightly tricky because the door doesn't open very wide. Now this is the 7-seater variant. You also get the 6-seater variant with captain seats, 2 adjustable headrests. The middle one is quite small in size. You get this nice armrest with 2 cup holders, rear AC vents, a Type-C port, blower controls over here. Space levels are much better than the original Scorpio. The older Scorpio had really bad space management, so this one is way better. Knee room is very good, headroom is more than enough. Cabin is also wide enough to fit 3 people. You get a 60-40 split rear seat. The seat cannot be slid back and forth, but you can definitely recline it. Yes, definitely good comfort in the second row of the Scorpio, and way better than the original Scorpio, which was quite uncomfortable and felt quite cramped also, despite being so big in size. Okay, so this is the 6-seater variant of the Scorpio-N. So on this you get 6-seater and 7-seater variants. On the old Scorpio you get 7-seater and 8-seater variants. So the 8-seater variant basically has a front facing third row seat, regular second row seat, so 3 plus 3 and 2 people over here, so that makes it 8 people in the Scorpio. I know that would be a very tight fit. Anyway, coming back to the Scorpio-N, again the quality of the upholstery is very nice. The seat cannot be slid back and forth, it can be reclined. Also the third row seat cannot be split, so you have to fold on the entire seat or just keep the whole thing up. Let's check out the third row of the Scorpio-N. Oh, okay, getting in was tricky because, yeah, definitely because of the car's height. Over here I'm seated comfortably. Headroom is more than enough. Space seems better than the 700, but if I bring the seat here, my knee is really hurting against the backrest of the second row seat, so I'll have to keep this slightly ahead. Not a good place for tall people like me. I'm 6 feet tall and I'm feeling a bit cramped over here. So the third row of the Mahindra Scorpio-N does not get any AC vents. This is something which is present on the Tata Safari. Good thing is that this is still better than the original Scorpio, because that one has those side facing seats which are again really uncomfortable, but getting in and out is easier in that car. So how is the boot capacity of the Scorpio-N? Well, we still have a side opening tailgate, and with the third row in place, cargo capacity is very limited over here, but you can easily fold down the seat and yes, you can free up a massive amount of space over here. The older Scorpio used to get side facing seats, so that had a slightly different layout. There is a world of a difference in the driving dynamics and the feel of the new Scorpio-N and the existing Scorpio. Now, I'm driving the Scorpio-N M Stallion first, which is the petrol engine. This is the same powertrain as the XUV 700, 2-liter 4-cylinder engine making 200 horses and 370 Newton meters on the manual and 380 Newton meters on the automatic. You get 6-speed manual, 6-speed automatic. The one which I have with me is the 6-speed automatic, and performance is just wow. This engine has more than enough grunt to power the Scorpio-N, and it gains pace nicely. Now on the XUV 700, this engine feels a lot more punchier because the XUV is of course a small monocoque SUV. This one is much bigger in size and is body on frame, so you feel the difference in the performance. But again, this one does not feel underpowered. In fact, it feels very, very eager to gain pace, and 200 horses propel the Scorpio-N very nicely on the roads. Refinement levels also top notch with this engine, and vibrations are very minimal. There's a very limited amount of noise which filters inside the cabin. I'm talking about engine noise. And yes, this engine does like drinking fuel though, so realistically you can expect around 6 to 7 kilometers per liter. No major complaints on the drivability front. In fact, the 6-speed torque converter has also been matched very nicely to the engine. It is complementing the shifts very nicely. And overall, the Scorpio petrol does seem to be quite fun to drive. Now, I'll be driving the diesel after this, but if you talk about the engine of the existing Scorpio, now that one gets a 2.2 liter M-Hawk diesel engine making 140 horses and 320 Newton meters of torque. Compared to that, this one is on another level. If I had to sum up the driving dynamics of the new Scorpio-N versus the existing Scorpio, I'd say there is a massive difference in a good way. Now the old Scorpio, the existing Scorpio, feels very rugged. It feels, it feels very connected to the driver because there is not a lot of plushness in that car, if I have to use that word. The steering is a bit more communicative on that car. It is more heavier on that car. The ride quality is harsher on that car. There's a lot more body roll on that car. Over here, things feel well under control and a lot more comfortable and luxurious. The ride quality is way better on the Scorpio-N. It is driving over really bad roads with a lot of ease. Yes, there's a very mild amount of bumpiness, but overall the car has become softer. The steering is nicely weighted. It is not as light as the one on the 700. In fact, it has a decent amount of heft to it, and feedback is also just about decent, way better than the 700 for sure. Frankly, in 2022, the existing Scorpio does feel a bit outdated in the way it drives. This one is definitely more suited to today's times. Now, the existing Scorpio gets disc brakes at the front and drums at the rear. Braking performance is just about average on that car. Over here, you get a lot more confidence-inspiring brakes, ventilated discs both at the front and the rear, and very good stopping power you get on the Mahindra Scorpio-N. So that's it for the Scorpio-N petrol, and now it is time to drive the diesel. Driving the diesel-powered Mahindra Scorpio-N now, and this one gets the same 2.2-liter M-Hawk diesel engine as the XUV 700, but again the power and the torque outputs are different. So on the 700, this one makes around 180 horses and 420 Nm on the manual and 450 Newton meters on the automatic. On this one, it makes 175 horsepower and 370 Newton meters with the manual and 400 Newton meters with the automatic. But if you buy the lower variant of the Scorpio-N, this one makes 130 horses and 300 Newton meters. That is out of the way now, and let's talk about the real performance. The 2.2-liter diesel engine is a true workhorse in terms of performance as well as fuel economy, and it is also very reliable in the long run. So this engine offers quite nice drivability. The turbo lag is very well contained, and overall there is no major complaint with the drivability front of this car. In fact, out of the two engines on the Scorpio-N, my pick would be the diesel because of the added fuel economy. The petrol is also a very nice engine. Performance is on another level, but I would prefer that engine in the 700, which is a lot more dynamic also. And if we talk about the fuel economy of the diesel, this one will realistically give you 13 to 14 kilometers per liter, and compared to the petrol, this is like almost double. So the running cost would also be significantly lower with the Scorpio-N diesel. The Mahindra Scorpio-N diesel also gets zip zap zoom driving modes. This is not offered on the petrol Scorpio-N, and they do alter the performance offered by the M-Hawk diesel engine. One more thing common with both the engines of the Scorpio-N is that you get this auto start stop feature, which can be toggled through this button, and it helps reduce the fuel consumption. The older Scorpio also gets this micro hybrid thing, which is again similar to this. The funda isn't very different. The clutch is very light on this car, but the travel of the pedal is extremely long, and that may become a bit tiring in bumper to bumper traffic. The gear shifts are smooth, but they are not super slick, so they do have a slight hint of notchiness to them. Refinement levels are also very nice with the diesel engine. It is noisy, but the noise and the vibrations are well under control, and they are not too bothersome inside the cabin, unlike the older Mahindra Scorpio. The Scorpio-N diesel also gets 4x4, which is not offered on the Scorpio-N petrol, and even the older Scorpio used to get 4x4 with the BS4 model, but with the BS6 one, they discontinued 4x4 and just offered rear wheel drive. So talking about the 4x4, it is called 4 Explorer, which is, the naming funda is something similar to 4MATIC offered by Mercedes-Benz, and the 4 Explorer basically consists of 4 off-road driving modes. You get a water mode, you get a mud and ruts mode, you get a snow mode, and you also get a grass mode, and you also get 4 low and 4 high driving modes. So it is a proper 4x4 system. We drove this car off the road on a nice off-road track, and it performed flawlessly. The challenges, they were good, they were challenging, but again, they were not very hardcore like the Scorpio. I know for sure that the Scorpio can handle a lot more than that. So that's about it, I guess. This is the manual, so this one gets 17-inch tires. The one which I drove before this, the automatic petrol one, that got 18-inch tires. The ride quality is actually better with this one, and this car just glides over potholes. Again, this is a trait which is much different from the old Scorpio. The old Scorpio's bouncy nature used to feel bothersome to passengers and not to the driver. In this, everyone in the car has a very pleasant experience. So full marks to Mahindra for tuning the suspension of the car. The Scorpio-N diesel also gets a 6-speed automatic. The older Scorpio used to get an automatic for a very limited time. After that, it was manual only. The top-end variants had a 6-speed manual. The lower variants had a 5-speed manual. On this, you can opt for 4x4 as an option with both manual and automatic powertrains, but only with diesel, not with petrol. The old Mahindra Scorpio is a cult even today. It looks gangsta, it has a very nice engine, but the car overall is very crude, very uncomfortable and very basic. In comparison, the Mahindra Scorpio-N is much more modern, it is safer, has better engines, and a lot more features and comfort are on offer. But of course, the pricing has also gone up significantly. So right now, the top-end variant is around 23 lakh on road Mumbai. That is the diesel manual top-end variant, 2-wheel drive. So if we add the price of an automatic and then 4-wheel drive, then the price will almost touch 28 8 lakh on road Mumbai. But again, I feel for that money it is definitely worth it, because in that price range you really do not have any proper SUV with a body on frame construction and 4x4. So that's it from my side. I'd say the new Mahindra Scorpio will definitely repeat the success story of the original one. And what are your thoughts on this SUV? Let me know in the comment section below. I'll see you guys in the next one.